Hey everyone, welcome back. So now in this lecture and in this module we've gone review and learn about files. So I hope most of the people were waiting for this video, but we are back with Python lectures of basic videos again. So now let's get started. So before we finish this section, let us quickly go over how to perform simple I/O with basic text files. We'll also discuss about file paths on your computer, and let's get started. So first of all, I need to say one thing, that is we are going to use Jupyter Notebook from now to access files directories and to do some exercises on files and to perform some functions, read, write files or delete or open them. Anything will be going through Jupyter Notebook. So first title we are going to discuss, that is write file. So imagine that you are having a txt file or a paper on your table. Okay, on your table you are having a paper. Now if you are getting bored, what will you do? Some people may tear it or crush it or just write something or draw something. But Jupyter Notebook will give you a super functionality using Python to write the file. So you can use that prefix and you can automatically create a new file and write it. So if you don't have a file like myfile.txt, then if you use one second. Yeah, if you use write file and myfile.txt, and after that let me show that. Right, see, okay, these brackets aren't there. Okay, yeah, if you do that and you can just write, this is line number 1. This is the text. This is the body of the text file. So these are just strings. Okay, so you don't need to have inverted commas there, but it just recognizes the second line from here as the body of file.txt. So this is the body of file.txt. So what Python does is just copy this text and paste it in this txt file where you named it as file.txt. So this is line number 1, this is line number 2, and this is line number 3. The sentences will be placed like that. So the output will be writing file.txt. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. So pwd is a prefix used to know your location of the file. Okay, shows you the directory or the location of the file which is in use, or not needed in use also, not necessary, but it will show you. Opens the required file. So after writing myfile.txt, if you use this open tag and just write a myfile.txt in here, it will open the file. Example, myfile equal to, so we are assigning a variable of myfile. So if you just type myfile, it will automatically go to the variable assigned. So open myfile.txt. So you are using a equal to symbol, so that represents this is a variable and this is a command given for it. So you notice the Unicode inverted commas over there. So it represents a string, and every time it's better to use Unicode representation. So in open tag also, in there you have to write as a string only. Okay, so even if myfile.txt is a file, but it's the name of a file, right? So that's why you have to use it as a string, represent it in a Unicode inverted commas. So that's must and should. And the next thing is read file. So read file is nothing but Python reads the file. So the output when you type read myfile.txt, one second. So instead of open in here, if you just type read myfile.txt, the output will be this one. Okay, the output will be this one. If you use read instead of this open, and if you just notice there's a slash n after each sentence with no space. So slash n, the slash n represents to move this sentence which is there over here to the next line. So to end the line over there, we use slash n in Python. And even in here also, this line number 3 moves down to the line number 2. Okay. Okay. So if you write in this line number 1, so this would be slash n, so that line is ending over here, and line number 2 will automatically insert here. So again slash n is there over here. So slash n is used 2 times when you see in here. Okay, in here it is there here. So 2 times, so 2 line breaks, and line number 3 will be there. So afterwards nothing is there over here to insert, so it won't insert anything. I hope you got what is slash n. So again, see, once you open the file and read it, the first output would be this one. Okay, so the first output would be this one, and again immediately if you type read myfile.txt, the output would be this one, an empty string. Why is that so? Let's think of for 1 second. See, let me just bring that file. So imagine that this is your file. So your cursor is here over here, and your paragraph is over here, line number 1, line number 2, and line number 3. This is your cursor. And when you are reading it first time, your cursor moves from here again into the second line, again here, again to the third line, it moves again to the here. So now your cursor is over here. Okay, now your cursor, 1 second, let me represent the cursor with another symbol. Yeah, first your cursor was over here. After moving, after reading the entire file, your cursor is now over here. Now again if you use read command, so what would it read? So you have nothing over here, right? So it won't read anything. So that's why it just shows you an empty string. So some people may think that it's an error and my files got deleted and something. But if you just don't know the concept, please don't fear about the errors. So if you have an error in your file, you will get a red sentences and the error where you did in your output. So if you are getting like this with no red highlighted sentences, so it's an empty string. Some functionality is being represented in Python. So as I said, first cursor would be over here when you open the file, and when you read it, your cursor goes from top to the bottom, and your cursor would end over here. So again, if you try to read it, you won't get anything. Python won't get anything to read. So it's just like if you complete a book and again if you try to read it, after the end page you will find nothing to read. So that's why even Python won't be having anything to read. So that's why it just gives you an empty string. I hope you understand that. And the next one, so as I said, if you think that read command is only for one time, that's absolutely wrong. So let me bring back everything. So let me take my text file again over here, and this is line number 1, this is line number 2, and this is line number 3. So again, my cursor is over here, goes from top to bottom over here and ends the reading of the file. So again, if I wanted to read, I can't read it. So there is another command that is .seek0, where again your cursor goes back to the starting position of file. So again, it just reverses the path it went. So it goes to the starting point of the file if you use seek and its index. And the next thing, one second. So in here, if you use seek0, and again if you just type read myfile.txt, then again you'll get this output. Okay, so you have to use seek0 to read it once more if you want. So that's it about the basic commands to use in files in Python. And the next one, read lines. So what if you wanted to read the paragraphs, like point-wise in the file, and get it in a list format? So this is obviously a list format where you'll be having this square brackets. Yeah, and the next thing, this divides the line. So each and every line would be divided and displayed in the output separately. So this is the command for displaying the each and every line separately in files in myfile.txt, that is files in Python. So now we've completed basics in the files in Python. But now let's move ahead and learn some more thing about files. So the concept of bringing this video is all about, like, for the second Virtuoso project where we'll be doing in the bootcamp, that requires a lot of knowledge with files, because we'll be just creating a type of server in your computer. So before, our password manager was just like that, and 3 labels were there, like a website, email you've used, and the password you've entered. And here you'll be having a logo, and here a text box, and another text box over here, and another text box over here, and finally add button and generate button were there over here. But see, if you are using my app, like the created app, if you are using this app for generating your passwords for website and storing them, what if you've created 100 of logins in your text file, like Amazon, Flipkart, Discord, YouTube. I mean, YouTube comes under Gmail itself. LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., etc. You've used a lot of websites, a lot of logins, and saved in a text file. But you want to search some website login, like out of 100 websites in there. So if you want to search Facebook email and password used, so you would be searching all the 100 websites logins. So that would be difficult to search a single login out of 100 logins. So that's why we will upgrade this password manager to the second version, where we'll be getting a search button over here. So after website, we'll be having a search button. So the function of search button is all about searching a website you've already created. So you have to write the specific website over here, like Facebook. And if you click search over here, so it just gives you a pop-up where what password and what email you've used for Facebook login. So that is a password manager 2.0. So I'm revealing everything because you have to know everything. So for that, we will be accessing the file, myfile.txt, or your password manager file will be accessed, and the data will be collected from that file and converted. The conversion will come from file to a pop-up window. So the data will be taken from file itself. So for that, we need to know the directory of the path, the directory of the file, and we have to paste it. But copying and pasting is very easy. But we have to learn some more things to do some more functionalities. Let's move ahead. And next thing. So now let's learn about file locations. So in the file locations, we'll be learning about directories or locations in your computer. File locations or directories assisted in your computer or stored in your computer. If you want to open files that are on another location in your computer, simply pass in the entire file path. So let me show you a picture and where you can copy the file path very easily instead of right clicking on it and copying the path. So every Windows 10 OS will have this option. I don't know if previous versions have this option. You have to search for it. So if you just take a closer look at your file manager in your Windows 10 OS, you will notice a copy path. So when you just click a single click on a file, then you will get this highlighted copy path over there. So you can just click that to copy the path, or above that you also have the cut option. You can cut that and move it to another one. You also have the copy, and after you have move to, and even you have copy to, and even you have delete, rename, and more. So this is the copy path option where you can just copy the path of the file by just clicking one button. And the next thing, for Windows you have to use double slashes so that Python does not treat the second one as an escape character. Example, so if you are giving a directory, the location of the path in Python module, Jupyter Notebook that is, you have to mention this double slashes to use in the directory or location of the file. So this is the format that is used in Windows, or you can just copy it and paste it so that you won't be, there will be no necessity to learn all this. But if you are manually typing some file path, then this is necessary. And for another OS like Mac or Linux, Mac OS or Linux users, you use slashes in opposite direction, but only one will be used, not both, two. So for Mac and Linux, opposite direction slashes would be used and only single slash would be used. Users, username, folder, myfile.txt. You can now know your username by just going to this PC option, and there you have to double click on this PC, and there you'll be having users, and in there you'll be having your username in the second one, I hope. So next one, moving on to the next one, let's meet some more interesting stuff in files in Python. So in the with command, we can learn more advanced stuff. Like if you see some examples, I'll show you some examples. 1 second. Yeah, in the previous methods, we were using like variable assignment. My file equal to open of my file.txt. So this is a variable assignment, but I'm going to introduce you to a newer method and easier and faster method. So it's just of English, that's it. With open my file.txt as my new file. So this one assigns my file.txt the string where it is. So it assigns as a variable holder. It assigns as a variable for my new file. So if I would represent it in this form, it would be my new file is equal to open of my file dot txt. So this would be representative of this one in the older method, but the new method will be adding a with command over here. With this one over here, and this would be removed and this would come after with, and after that we will be using as. So this one where as is represented here, where it is similar to equal to symbol, so it acts as equal to symbol. So open my file.txt equal to my new file. So A is equal to B or B is equal to A, both are same, just the order changes, that's it. So first thing we have to write this one, and the next one we have to write the variable, the new variable we are assigning over there. I hope that's clear for you. And the next thing, after typing everything, your cursor would be over here. Okay, your cursor would be over there, and now if you click enter, your cursor would be having an indentation of width. Okay, in this representation my indentation is wrong, but your cursor will be exactly below the width. So your cursor would be over here. So this space would be given by Python automatically. So your cursor would be over here when you click enter from here to here. So you have to click enter from here to here, from semicolon to here, and your cursor would be placed exactly below the width, and from that you have to assign something. So you have to assign something like a variable where it is in the shorter form. Like if you see in here my new file dot read, it's a longer method, but if you just assign a variable where contents, if you just type contents, you'll you'll automatically get my new file dot read command will be executed automatically. So Python will be useful like in the variable assigning. So you have to use it as much as possible to shorten the code and to code easily on your panel or something. And the next thing, so I'm giving you a hint like shift plus tab. So where to click the shift plus tab? So let me show you that. So if you place your cursor over here within the brackets after open command, whether you can do this in the older format also. So if you place the cursor over here, and I hope you can do this over here. Okay, just ignore it. So place your cursor and just click shift plus tab. So you'll get a dialog box like this. So this is just a part of dialog box, but you'll get more under it. But we won't be needing that information and that documentation right now. But I have just given you a simpler format. So signature of that, it means that so the by default code will be there in every format and in every structure you make. More commands would be, can be executed over there, but you won't be needing it. So the Python terminal would give it in a default way, where your work would be in a simpler way, so that you could just type the code easily. So whenever you want changes in mode or buffering or a new line or close FD or opener, you can change them. But whenever learners or the beginners, they don't know about buffering, encoding, new line, close FD and opener, so they won't be needing it. They will be only needing, they'll be only having the work with this file one. And if you learn more, you will go to mode, and if you go more in the deeper sections, like more and more in files of Python, then you'll get to know this new file, close FD and opener. Now we won't be needing all those new line, close FD and opener. I'll just introduce them afterwards. But the first thing you have to recognize over here, that is mode. So when you are learning about files in Python, mode is very, very important. So this is the default code given by the Jupyter Notebook when you are executing a code in Jupyter Notebook. And also Jupyter Notebook gives you the best results and the best options, or luxury, like it gives you more options to operate in files. So I say that Jupyter Notebook is best when you use Python for files. So now this is the default code, as I said. So in the mode 1, they gave something like R. So do you know what R is? And in mode we have more like R, A, W, R plus and W plus. So we have like this more and more if you go deeper and deeper. But they only gave the default section as R. So in the next one, let's learn what is R and what is A and what is W and what is R plus and what is W plus. So in that, all the contents I've said now, that is mode, that comes under modes in files of Python. So this is very, very important when you are using an open command. Now in the next module, the next upcoming this one, let's learn about modes. In the modes, I have told you we have many topics to learn. So first, reading, writing, appending, these are the 3 things we are going to learn now in modes. So first one is mode, equal to R. So R is nothing but just reading the file. So if you just give the mode and that is equal to R after the myfile.txt, then the Python will only read the file. And the next thing is W, is write only, will overwrite a file or a create file. W is if you don't have a file and you said W, like you don't have a file like oops.txt, you don't have whoops.txt, and you've just coded to open whoops.txt and write something in that. W mode opens that file and also writes whatever you told Python to do. And the next thing, append. So you know what append means in Python? Like it'll add the elements in the ending. I mean at the ending. So if you take the mode append and execute the code, you will just get output. Like if you just take first on the one on the first, two on the second, three on the fourth. And now if you use append function and append 4 on the fourth, then you will get it exactly over here. And if you use this command, so breaks the line and going to the next line, then 4 on the fourth will come to down of third on the 3 on the third. Okay. And the next thing, that is R plus. So it reads the file and also write it. And this is the confusing part where you and me as in the first stage will confuse over here. So reading and writing and writing and reading, you may think that both are same, but there's a difference between writing and overwriting. Writing means writing a first time. Overwriting means whatever is there, we are writing it again. I mean, we are editing something in the previous file, or it does create a new file. So W plus is best of both worlds of R and W. So it combines R and W and also includes W function. But whereas R plus, it does include R and W, but W entire function will not be executed over here. But what is the W function? Write and overwrite a file or create a file. But it only does writing thing. But whereas W plus, it includes all of R and W. Okay. So now we've completed the conceptual part and everything. Now let's move on to Jupyter Notebook. After a long period of time, we are doing the coding exercises in Jupyter Notebook, but that's not a problem. Let's move on to Jupyter Notebook and perform all of the exercises we've learned. So I thought, and I have told you to practice this code in Jupyter Notebook, and I also told that we will practice this code in Jupyter Notebook, but unfortunately my Jupyter Notebook is currently not working properly. So every time I open the local host, it is showing, the tab is not responding over there. So I request you all that you please practice whatever I've shown you in the Jupyter Notebook. But the only luckiest thing that happened is I've previously downloaded a copy of the practice code where I've performed it in the Jupyter Notebook. So the code will be shared you through GitHub. As we know, I have a repository, Python project materials, and everything will be in there. So from there you can collect the Jupyter Notebook code and you can execute that in your Jupyter Notebook. But from the next video, I'll try to even open Jupyter Notebook and type there. But as of now, I've told everything that is needed for files concept in Python, I hope. So thank you guys. Thanks for supporting.